So it's our grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren are the ones who's going to rediscover this, and long after we are gone, unfortunately. But hopefully they will have an ability to bring it back, or to apply it. Now, the relationship between the Brehons and Brehon law and Christianity is very important because, well, we know a good deal about it from the fact that the Christians attempted to expunge it, so to speak, because it was, as Patrick or whoever back, didn't quite correspond with the law of God. So therefore, there was a clash of two systems here. The laws that we're accustomed to in Western civilization are what I would call Abrahamic. Because if you look at the three great cultures, the Christians, the Jews, and the Muslims, they all come from Abraham. So we just take for granted that Western civilization is Abrahamic, which is very patriarchal. It is top down. And it's no coincidence that the Ten Commandments was, or at least the mythology going with it, is that it was handed down from the mountain, written, so it was written so that it was a scholastic thing, and it was handed as you do this, as a command. Now that's the concept of law that we still have to this day, and has been the part of our Western, what we would call Western civilization, throughout recorded history. Now, the Brehon laws are the complete antithesis to that. They're a bottom-up set of laws, entirely different concepts of what a law or what laws are. So, if you were to see it in the Middle Ages contest that went on between what was known as the Scholastics and the Humanists, the days of Erasmus and Thomas More. You could see Thomas More and Erasmus and the humanist movement as a reaching back, a rediscovery of the Brehon laws, or those kind of laws, which were earth-based, human-based, and they were bottom-up rather than top-down. And whereas the scholastic movement, and essentially the church, the Christian, was that God handed down the laws to his chosen messengers. The concept of the messenger, which of course is very much Islam and is very much Christian, and indeed is very much Jewish as well. The prophet, the intermediary between that didn't exist in the Gaelic Irish mind. Didn't exist at all. And of course that was what was very difficult for the Christians to deal with. So what was this, and how could it survive, and where did it come from, and so on? If you didn't have a father figure, if you didn't have an almighty source of wisdom, external from the universe and so on, how could you possibly, how could this spring up? Very easily, it just did. It was founded in the deepest realms of the human spirit and its relationship between each other. So essentially, the Brehon laws are laws that govern the relationship between human beings, as between one and another, between individuals, not between the state and an individual. That concept didn't exist. It just didn't exist, period. Therefore, there was no such thing as capital punishment. There was no state-mandated laws. I mean, it's totally foreign to our way of thinking. The laws were while the Brehons, the judges, considered to be natural law. So they believed in the idea of human beings having rationality, common sense, and they revered tradition because they were very conscious of the weight of prior judgments. So it was similar to common law in that it was the accumulated judgments of wise judges that went before. So you didn't suddenly put yourself up and hang out your shingle and become a Brehon. It was a long apprenticeship, and everything was in the mind entirely, because they just didn't have the technology or the inclination or whatever to write things down. They were quite happy storing it all in each other's brains. So yes, they had precedent. Yes, they had a law library. Yes, they had everything that we would consider essential to a law practice today, but it was all in here. So if you can imagine a lawyer or a judge sitting in his room surrounded by all these wonderful law tracts and so on, and he goes to them, or he has a clerk research them and gets precedents and cites this and cites that and so on. Brehon sat there and he remembered he had the entire thing at his disposal in his mind. That was what you required to do. There was no other way. So typically it took about 20 years to become a Brehon. And by the way, women were free to do it as well. And what was interesting about the way the school system worked, and by the way, this is just one part of the Druidic system, the wisdom system. The teacher, the Olive, the wise person, the wise man, he over a long period imparted his wisdom and his knowledge to his students, and he maintained them. He actually paid them, and not paid them, but fed them. Now they obviously worked because he was given land free by the king. That was part of the system. So he had a special stipend, if you like, so he owned that piece of land. But they were a self-contained group. And then what was the payback is when he became old, they maintained him. So it was a self-sustaining system, which was wonderful. And of course there'd be a school of them. So and then of course it was in each tuach. And that's an important idea too. They were tuach based. And if you remember, the tuachs are the areas, the small little areas, not the big state as a whole, but it was tuach based, which as I've said many, many times here in this class, the name of the people and the tuach were identical.
As in two other done that?
Yes, but no, that's a sort of a myth. Thua did lots of things. Thua is a Amshir na Thuaha was what, and to this was the time of the Thuas. And it's interesting that in modern times in the Irish Republic, the country people who have their communities is called Muncher na Thuaha. The actual Irish word for the country, not the Chira, that's a different thing, Muncher na Thuaha. Where and cheers doesn't far away from that. But that's going into linguistics, and I don't want to go too far into it. But what I am saying is that the concept of ownership of land was we own the land, not I. And the law tracts and the Brehon laws governed land and property generally. There's a list of them here somewhere, and crime, the interrelationship between people if they injured each other. I don't know. There's very nice. Saw a very nice list of them here earlier today, but it wasn't just one item. So I suppose today we have land use law, criminal law, we have divorce law, family law. We have all different branches of law. Well, they did too, and different divisions of it.